good afternoon. We're delighted to be joined by the Secretary General Special Representative for Afghanistan, Ms. Otunbayeva, who's just briefed the Council. I think, sorry, I'm just going to lower the microphone a little bit. I think we'll go straight to questions, given that you've already heard. Edie?
Thank you very much, Ms. Otunbayeva. Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. Sima Bahous, the head of UN Women, asked the Security Council to support the idea of declaring that the Taliban are committing gender apartheid. Is this something that you support? Do you think this would or could make a difference?
No, idea is very strong, but in the circumstance of Afghanistan, we'll continue to follow and observe the situation with regard of women persecution, and will certainly inform the world about what's going on. But I do know that still this is idea which is in establishment, it's in progress. And let us a bit follow how it will go. It's not necessary for me first to announce that we are for this idea.
What do you think could make a difference? I know you spoke quite positively about this group of experts from Muslim countries coming to talk to the Taliban about Islamic law on education and women. What else do you think could make a difference? Should that be stepped up? Should it be done at like a heads of state or government level?
Sounds this involvement of Islamic countries and a special organization of Islamic Conference and their ideas to work closely with ulamas and impacts on people via ulamas. Sounds like this is quite impactful. This time when they came, they left Afghanistan quite satisfied in comparison with their first visit. And as you know, this conference, Women and Islam, is decided to have in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, and we'll see what will be the result. I just want that this conference will be not just for women, but it will include also male actors.
Thank you. Miriam, and then James.
Mrs. Otunbayeva, this is Miriam Ramadi with Afghanistan International. In your report, you said that the number of madrasas in Afghanistan are increasing dramatically, and the leader of the Taliban is in support of that. How worried is UNAMA about this increase, especially that in these madrasas radicalism is being taught, and these are the same madrasas that the Taliban themselves once were educating in these madrasas? How worried are you about these developments?
It is really so. They declared that will be a growth of madrasas, and moreover they said that schools, this is the Western concept, and will teach mostly children in madrasas. I would say that we must not afraid from the word of madrasa, but we want to follow this process, turning to madrasa and observing the curriculums of this madrasa, what kind of subjects will be. We hope that modern subjects like chemistry, math, IT, foreign languages will be included, because they promised that girls will study in madrasas. So Uh, this is very such a half solution, certainly. It is not an avenue for the studies in the future, but still, if you know that Afghanistan is 50% of literacy, women are 30%. It's rough numbers, of course, but with such a literacy, all right, madrasas will be in function and girls will study. I think this is a sort of solution for today.
Public schools, if they are letting girls in madrasas, why don't they open the public schools? Like, what is the exact difference? Did they explain this to you? If they are not...
No, not yet. It's difficult to collect information. As soon as we've heard that the growth of madrasas, aggressive recruitment of teachers, we now follow very closely. And we do know that those madrasas might be very primitive. They might be just in sort of such a conditions which are not possible to study in. But schools, there is a shortage of schools. There is no buildings for schools enough, as you know. And those madrasas are going additionally just supplementary.
James?
SOSG, James Bays from Al Jazeera. Can I ask you your assessment of the Taliban's decision-making? Are you going to get a change on women and girls if you don't get one man to change his opinion, and that's the Taliban's Emir Hibatullah? Is it him who is making all these decisions, or are there different Taliban involved in the decision-making? What's your understanding?
No, in fact, really, Emir Hibatullah, he's the producer of decisions, because I've heard from one of the members of cabinet that over the discussion will be girls' studies possible or not. More than 90% of cabinet members, they voted for the studies of girls. So as soon as it comes to Kandahar, it blocks all the time. So far, he's unreachable. I tried to bring the whole ambassadorial corps to Kandahar, and in the last minute, he canceled our meetings with the provincial governor, with the Shura Ulema, which I was able to do in my first trip. So, and I thought that this circle of ambassadors will try to convince them, will really speak to them. Okay, for Emir is really unreachable, but Shura Ulema, provincial governor, was still sort of reachable. But recently, these ulemas, they didn't go to Kandahar. So government convinced them to stay in Kabul, and ulemas came from Kandahar. So in other words, they keep this policy of this sacrality of Emir and pragmatic function government in Kabul. So this line is still in force.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ibtisam Azim Al Arabi Al Jadid newspaper. Just a quick follow-up, just a quick question on the economic situation there, and if you have any steps you believe that the international community should do. I know you have been talking about this in different occasions, but what do you want to see happening next to improve the situation and maybe make Afghanis less dependent on humanitarian aid? Thank you.
On the 30th of October, I will launch a microfinance event. We do not call summit, it's just a big event. And I hope, and we have on the board World Bank, European Union, dozens of UN organizations. And I hope that instead of 3 microfinancial organizations, which we have today, we'll have dozens. because look, we can't feed so many people, of course. This is the largest humanitarian crisis. Last year it was 23 million, now it dropped up to the 3 million. We have means only for this amount of people. But this microfinancing, which I am very deep believer of this tool, it will give means to every family, every woman, and it will help somehow sustain this over this winter. At the same time, economical situation, it's quite stable. It is, if you wonder, but they really work hard. These mullahs, alumni of madrasas, dozens of quite pragmatic de facto ministers, they work very hard, and they with sort of some good ideas. They don't have financial resources, but to continue to build canal, for example. They offer mining places instead to pay for the work. So, I mean, this is the situation, economical situation. Banking system is weak, very weak, but now we are working to do the analysis of the banking system, because if investors want to come, then they need certainly banks. And I hope that we would be able to give them a better, clearer picture about this. And we are better organized now in Kabul, I would say. We are working with all embassies to study, to learn more about the situation, and as soon as countries have better picture, then they can respond better.
Thank you. Stefano, and then we'll take that's the last question.
Stefano Vaccaro, La Voce di New York. Thank you, madam. What you would say to the women and girls of Afghanistan that would like to leave, that would like to leave the country now? What is your advice for them, and how the UN is going to help them to leave?
They would like what?
To leave the country, to escape. How would you help them? And there is a Security Council resolution, the first one that was passed after the Taliban got power, that indicates that the Taliban have to let anyone, any civilian that wants to leave Afghanistan, they had to let them go.
They're leaving, but with all the means which possible, but it's not easy also, as I understand. What I'll tell them, look, still about 20 million women live in Afghanistan. So, and it's agrarian country where they live in the countryside. Of course, there are cities. Kabul is about 6 million now population. And in Kabul, there are a lot of course, women. And we are trying to build private entrepreneurship among women, business entrepreneurship. So, and what I want to tell you that, of course, they are desperate. It is impossible situation. Look, normal people like all of us, you can't go there and here, and for moms to take children to bath, it is impossible in the country where water is scarce. But at the same time, I do believe, I met with many women, very adamant, very strong. They work there, they stay there, and we do know that, look, in the country, women themselves, they should consolidate, they should organize better, they should really sustain. That's the situation.
Follow up, but if you were a woman of Afghanistan today, would you leave?
No, I'll stay.
Thank you very much.